that the entire world should be grateful for what Cincinnati winemaker Nicholas Longworth was doing for that industry. Yes, that Longworth. You're going to hear some names in this piece that played major parts in shaping this city. Cincinnati has so many connections and histories with things that you wouldn't expect. We have the oldest professional fire department in the country. A P&G scientist is the one who developed the Pringles can here. Uno was invented in this area in the 70s. And Cincinnati also has a really interesting connection to America's wine industry going back more than 150 years. Take a look at this bit from Atlas Obscura.
People don't think, hey, let's go to Cincinnati and enjoy some high quality wine. But this region, kind of spanning out from Cincinnati, was covered in vineyards during the mid-1800s. We were producing more wine here than anywhere else in the country.
They are like woolly.
This wine history was lost. Why is that? I don't know. But what I do know is that there's a legacy here that was worth exploring. There was also some beautiful wine that I had had from here that made me a believer. I think a lot of people think you just like kick your legs up and drink wine. It's not like that at all. I'm Kate MacDonald, and I'm the owner and winemaker here at Skeleton Root. These are the fermenters. So this has got basically 2 red wines. They've been fermenting on the skins for about a week, and so they're going to get pressed. Skeleton Root really was born kind of in the mission to resurrect a lot of these American heritage grape varieties that really were kind of filling these hillsides throughout Cincinnati in the mid-1800s.
I really wanted to make sure you saw that was Skeleton Root. It's a really cool little wine spot that's in the northern part of Over the Rhine on West McMicken. It's been there since 2016, one of several wineries in this area. But going back in time, it was the 1850s when the Illustrated London News announced that the entire world should be grateful for what Cincinnati winemaker Nicholas Longworth was doing for that industry. Yes, that Longworth. You're going to hear some names in this piece that played major parts in shaping this city. He studied law under one of Cincinnati's first millionaires, Jacob Burnett. Sometimes land would be Longworth's payment. So he went into real estate in the early 1800s. Longworth also thought that Cincinnati was a primo spot for grape cultivation, even though it was really not much more than a frontier town at this point. One of his vineyards was on the hill for Mount Adams. From the 1830s through the 1850s, Longworth had still and sparkling Catawba being distributed from California to Europe. He's been called the father of American grape culture. The Henry Wadsworth Longfellow poem called Ode to Catawba Wine is dedicated to Longworth. Longworth really just had impeccable timing, if nothing else. Between getting the land and then getting a hold of the Catawba, he found that many of the German immigrants here in the Cincinnati area really enjoyed the wine that he was making. There's a really interesting piece about Cincinnati being America's first great wine region posted on medium.com. It says that Longworth's breakthrough was in 1842 when his dry Catawba accidentally double fermented. And people really dug that. Longworth brought in champagne experts from France so he could make this new wine at scale. By the mid-1850s, Longworth was producing upwards of 100,000 bottles of his sparkling Catawba per year and advertising it in England and Italy, which, I got to say, that's some real Cincinnati chutzpah right there. Hello, Italy? Yeah, hi, it's Cincinnati. Yeah, pre-Civil War Cincinnati calling. Hey, how are you? How's your mother? Listen, you've got to try this stuff that we're bottling. I got to put the phone down. That's wild. By 1859, 2,000 acres of vineyard were producing over 500,000 gallons of wine in Ohio. Peak production in the country. But then diseases like black rot took a big chunk out of the industry here, and then the aforementioned Civil War did the rest to end the 19th century wine boom here in Cincinnati. But we know that Longworth certainly made his mark. Longworth Hall is a place you've heard about over the years. He also donated the land where you will find the Cincinnati Observatory. And his former vineyard is in a spot that is now, anybody? Anybody? Bueller? Eden Park. The Cincinnati area has a number of wineries that you can visit, like Skeleton Root in OTR, also Revel, just nearby in the same neighborhood. There's Vino Clet Winery on Coleraine. If you're in Kentucky, Elk Creek Vineyards of Owen County bills itself as Kentucky's premier winery destination. A lot of other options all listed on visitcincy.com if that's what you're in the mood for. In terms of industry, the Ohio Agriculture Department has a lot of data available. The wine industry boosted the state economy by more than $7 billion in 2025. And when it comes to direct economic impact, you can see that chart there. 25,000 jobs, about $865 million in wages, and then in terms of total output, really impressive, $3 billion.